Hello and welcome to the Kick in the Creatives podcast, hosted by myself, Sandra Busby, and my fellow creative Tara Roskell, offering you interviews, inspiration, motivation, and a gentle prod in the right direction. And for lots more information, challenges, and other useful tools to help you get creating, you can go to www.kickinthecreatives.com. And of course, this is where you can also find today's show notes. Enjoy the show. So welcome to today's show, and today Tara and I are going to be chatting about some fun things that you can do with a creative friend. But before we get onto that topic, as always, we want to thank everyone who's been sharing their work with us on social media this month, and it's been another really busy month. And of course, so many people have been joining in with Inktober, and that is a challenge hosted by Jake Parker. And by the way, if anyone's interested in how that challenge came about, you might be interested to go back to episode 18, where we had a really interesting chat with Jake. And he's such a lovely guy. It's really well worth listening, I think. There's certainly more to Jake than Inktober. Anyway, meanwhile, lots of you have also been joining in with our own challenges. Creeptober proved to be particularly popular. And this is the challenge where you had to draw something creepy every day throughout the month. And also we had some really clever poems for the October Poet Challenge. We had John Monroe, who is a natural when it comes to poetry. And I know that he's going to be publishing his own book very soon. So we're rooting for him to do great things with that. And also Cheryl Martin, she's another one who writes some lovely poems. So I've been really enjoying those as well. Who else? Karen Thornton. She's been doing some really lovely drawings for the Creeptober Challenge. And I just love her lively line work. Have you seen those, Tara?
Was it her who did the cat? Was that her that did the cat?
Yeah, I think she was. Yeah. She's done a cat and she's done like a witch, and she does all these sort of really lively sort of scribbly lines, but they're brilliant. It really looks energetic. But it's just so difficult, isn't it, to pick people out because there's just so many now to choose from. So it's really hard. What caught your eye?
Well, I've loved Stacey Wilder. She's been doing some fantastic animals. I think it was a llama I saw. She's been doing loads, but they're so nice. I think they're for Inktober. She's been doing those. And then we've got Eva Folkwall Simpson. I hope I've got that right. She's been doing drawings again for Inktober, but fitting them in with the Inktober prompts. So she's been drawing herself, but a bit like Gabriella Pop did, but combining them with, a prompt as well. They are really fun. And Sue Watson, she's been doing ink drawings for Inktober. She's been doing ones in sort of a square shape. I don't know if you've seen them. There's one of a lizard that I loved. And a hedgehog. I think it's a hedgehog she did as well.
Yeah, that was yesterday, wasn't it? I love that. Yeah. That was so cute. Yeah.
Anyway, what is new with you?
Well, this is a bit non-arty in a way, but it was recently my 20th wedding anniversary, and Paul surprised me with a weekend away in Bath, which was you might not know this, but I don't know if I've ever told you this, but a few years ago, I rode a bike from John O'Groats to Land's End. Did you know that?
Well, you told me this, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah.
Did anyone else know that?
And anyway, when I finished the ride, I promised myself two things. First of all, I would never get on a bike again. And secondly, that one day I would definitely return to Bath because, it was just so beautiful. Definitely not somewhere to be on a bike, though, because it's so hilly. It really is. But I just wanted to get off and explore. But, of course, we couldn't do that at the time because we were on like a deadline. But anyway, Paul took me back there for our anniversary last weekend. And I didn't have any time to sketch. I really genuinely didn't because we did so much and, I just didn't have the chance. But if you love sketching buildings, then it's the place to go. It's almost like being like in another country, I think. Mind you, it was built by the Romans, I suppose. That might explain it.
Well, you posted photos, didn't you, on Facebook?
I did.
You should have put some on our Instagram story. Why not put a few on there?
I could do, actually. Honestly, if you ever get the chance to go, you won't be disappointed. It's kind of all sandstone, those kind of beautiful sort of yellowy kind of buildings. It reminded me a bit of Oxford, the old part of Oxford. But the thing with Oxford's an amazing old place with beautiful buildings. inside a very busy modern place. Whereas what I loved about Bath is it's a small city, which is all stunning and old and beautiful, and it's right in the middle of the countryside. So every time you look around, you've got these beautiful buildings with this backdrop of valleys and hills beyond it. It's just, I just can't wait to go back. I could live there. I thought it was absolutely that lovely. And we went to the Roman baths. That was just amazing. I just wanted to get in though, but you're not allowed, so never mind. But in more arty news, I should get onto arty stuff. I've almost finished my latest painting, which is a hand holding a glass of whiskey. I told you there was body parts involved in this one, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
So, yeah, I'm really relieved to get this one done, although it's not quite done. But I've got an exhibition coming up, and the opening night is on the 1st of November, so it's got to be dry for that. And
where is the exhibition, just in case anybody wants to come?
Oh, it's in some swanky gallery in London. No, it's not really. No, to be honest, I'm really not an exhibition kind of girl. This
You're not going to tell anybody, are you? Because you're scared everyone is going to turn up.
I'm not sure what scares me the most. No one turning up on the opening night or someone turning up. I've no idea what I'm more scared of. But basically, there's a place local to me, and it's he specialises in framing like sports, signed sports shirts and like sporty memorabilia, and it's like he does anything to do with famous people, really. But what he does is he's basically a framer as well. And what he does is every month he hangs a different artist's work on his walls for a month. And but what he does is he asks you to have an open evening so that people sort of discover his shop more, and obviously then he just takes a small percentage of whatever sells. So I'm doing it with a friend of mine who's also an artist. We're doing it together. I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of people turning up though, because the friend I'm doing it with, she's invited hundreds of people.
God.
And I'm like, do you know, I find it so easy to make a post online and stick a painting up on my website, and then somebody buys it and it's great. But I find the idea of actually saying to people, come along and see my work, is so, it's just cringeworthy, uncomfortable. But I suppose it's one of those things we've got to do, isn't it? As artists, we have to get over that. And to be honest, I've been a bit stressed about it. I've even had a couple of nightmares recently.
Oh, God. I knew you hadn't slept. I didn't think you had nightmares.
I had a couple of nightmares. It's really strange. Well, I had one nightmare where I've got a painting. It's a painting of a martini glass with some olives in it.
Yes. Yeah.
And it won an award. And actually, a friend of my parents actually bought the painting. So anyway, because the exhibition has an open evening, what the guy said is, if you've got any other things that are framed as well that aren't for sale that you just want to show, then feel free to put those up as well, just for the opening night. So I thought, that's quite a good idea actually, because you know they're framed, and it's always lovely when a painting's framed, isn't it? So I dreamt that I'd asked these people if I could just borrow back that painting for one evening, and they said no problem, but they gave it to my mum to give to me. And when Mum handed it over, I realised that it was all just like a ghostly figure of a painting, where the painting had faded so much that I couldn't even see it. And I was thinking, how could you possibly be happy with this painting? Which is bizarre, because it's an oil painting. It will last probably longer than I will live. Do you know what I mean? But it's one of those things that I think it's bringing out all these anxieties in me, which is really strange. But quite honestly, I just want the open evening to be over with, and then I'll be fine.
Do you know what's weird though? Because I'd hate it. I'd be exactly the same as you. But you're quite prepared to be on video in the bath. Yeah. That's completely not embarrassing at all. But standing in front of your work with a load of people around you with a glass of wine, that's excruciating.
I think I'm going to need more than a glass of wine. Yeah, that is. And it's really strange because, you know, when people see my work, they're always just like, oh, wow. And it's lovely. But I don't know. It's just really odd, isn't it? It's like taking a compliment, I suppose. I mean, it's lovely, but at the same time, you kind of feel like it's Oh my goodness, you know what I mean? And then you wonder if they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's one of
really
the reasons I
strange.
hate graphics. You know, it's you're constantly putting yourself out for judgment, but it's judgment. Whereas when you put your work online, say for example, like you were saying, and you just sell it, if someone hates it, which they probably
Yeah.
wouldn't, but you know, what I mean, you don't get to know about it unless you get some horrible troll sort of person.
Yeah.
You only get to hear the positive if someone likes it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like an exhibition, not that anyone would say anything horrible, but there's a possibility you could overhear something, isn't there?
Yeah, it's just tricky. I know that.
Or see someone's face, I guess, and you know.
Yeah. I mean, I've always sort of thought one day I'd love to do a solo exhibition one day. But, I mean, my problem's always been building up a body of work because obviously, you know, things sell and it's like it's bittersweet because part of me's like, oh, that's brilliant, it's sold. And the other part of me's like, oh, it's another one less towards an exhibition someday. So,
Yeah.
But I just don't want to turn down a sale because I just don't. But yeah, it's something one day I hope that I will do. But at the moment, I've got to get past this little hurdle of just doing it in a small place in my local town with a friend.
Yeah, well, it'll be fine as soon as you get to that night. I should think as soon as you get there, it'll be a lot of people you know, won't it? Because you'll have your family there, I assume.
Yeah, they'll be there.
Yeah,
they'll be there. No, it'd be nice. And actually, somebody has contacted me because I put the event up online, and somebody that I've been in touch with only online for a few years now. Actually, I always thought she was from America because nearly all the artists I chat to are from America or Australia, and I just assumed she was from across the pond. But it turns out she's actually only up the road in Kent. So she contacted me and said, yes, I'm coming, I'll be there. So I said put a rose in your mouth because her picture, her profile picture is one of her little illustrations. She does illustrations. So I don't know what she looks like, but I was part of me was like, oh, it's gonna be so nice to meet you, and the other part of me was like terrified. Oh my god, you know what it's like, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You know what it's like. But it'll be fun.
If I was near, I'd come along, but it'd take me forever.
Yeah, it'd take you about 4 hours to get here, wouldn't it? Anyway, what is new with you?
Well, I haven't got anything really. It's really boring. All I've been doing is a bit of urban sketching because I'm trying to think where
That's not boring.
Yeah, no, but I haven't done it in a big way. Like, I haven't been to any, any groups or anything. Me and Kevin went out for a breakfast in this big pub near us, and I don't know if I've told you this already. I sketched in there, and then we went round for a family dinner with his family. Yeah, and they were, 3 of them were playing crib because Kevin loves playing crib, the card game crib. Yeah. So they were totally not taking any notice of me. And then there was a couple of other people, they were sitting on the sofa, also not taking any notice of me. So I would just draw in, and nobody, because they were so engrossed, nobody asked me what they looked like afterwards. So, because when you're drawing, especially when you're drawing people and they're moving and stuff, and you don't want to be insulting as well, when you draw someone, do you? And it's like, oh, please don't look at them. And luckily they didn't, so I could just shut the sketchbook, put it in my bag, and that was it, which was really good.
Yeah, because I do think people who don't sketch or draw or anything like that, when they see someone drawing them on a train or whatever, if they went over, they'd assume that they were going to see an identical portrait of them, exquisitely drawn. It's just not how it is. You're using that personality as an inspiration because that's all you have time to do when they're moving around, isn't it? You can't really do it.
It doesn't look like them. And these, I did post them in our story, but then I am getting quite frustrated, and I'm sure everybody gets like this because I'm just not improving at the rate I want to. It's like everything, isn't it? And I'm sure there'll come to a point when I'll suddenly make this blip, when I go up again.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a plateau, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I've done that before where I've kind of thought, right, okay, I've been here for a long time and I need to, but I think it comes down to experimenting, which you're really good at. It's just pushing yourself to do something more and do something new, which you do that quite often when we go sketching. You'll be like, right, today I'm going to do buildings, and today I'm much more like, no, I'm comfortable drawing people.
Yeah, but in some ways sticking to the same thing would be better, because if I stuck to drawing with pen and ink, drawing a person, I'd probably get better at drawing a person than pen and ink.
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just frustrating because I look at them and I think, well, if I look back maybe 3 or 4 months, when we've been on another trip, they don't look any better than then. And that's just
I don't know.
frustrating me.
You did a sketch of a man on a train on the way to our last sketching trip, and I loved that. That was one of your best, I think. I really, really loved it. But everyone likes different stuff, don't they? I just loved it.
See, I just found that a bit dull.
Did you?
Sorry.
No, but it's, it is what it is. I mean, I've been doing a lot of sketching, haven't I, on our trips with just black just black ink.
Yeah.
And some water. But I think I've been doing that long enough now. I can practically do it with my eyes shut. But and that's why I'm thinking, right, now I'm going to start, splashing some colour around, which I always say, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
I did use some Inktense pencils last time. But this time I'm going to bring my watercolours along.
Did you get a stool? Did you get a stool?
No, I didn't get a stool because I've just recently bought a whole selection of new pens. And I thought, do you know what? I can't keep just buying stuff. So I've put it in my Amazon wish list because I've got one of those. So if any of my family or but just
get one for Christmas.
Know what I want. They'll go on my wish list and then something will disappear. It's like, ooh, who's bought me that? Yeah,
what we're talking about, by the way, is a fold-up stool for sketching. And we've actually got a video coming up. It's going to go up this Sunday, actually. So when this podcast is out, it'll be up. Just looking at different types of seating for when you're out sketching, sort of lightweight stuff that's really portable.
And I thought your one was fantastic. And actually, it's funny you should say this because only yesterday, I can't remember what TV programme it was. It was an advert. I don't know what it was, but it was a trolley. There's trolleys that it used to be just for old ladies that used to pull them around on wheels. Well, this trolley was like one of those, but it had a built-in seat. So it was almost like a trolley, but the handle was the back of a deck chair. So you kind of pulled it out and you had your stuff behind you and then you could sit in the chair. I thought, that's awesome. So that would be great for someone who was real properly into urban sketching, had all the kit and was going out like all week doing it. I think that would be fantastic. But obviously, from our point of view, we're just sort of...
Yeah, not so good in London, is it? If you're traipsing around London. But that'd be great if you were in Brighton, it wouldn't be bad, would it? Something like that.
Yeah,
so you could pull along. Yeah. Anyway, also just wanted to quickly let you know about Ko-fi, which is a place where you can now support us by buying us a coffee. It's spelled ko-fi.com, but you can find it on our website in the sidebar. And I think it's spend £3 and buy us a coffee. And we said that we'd like to make coffee moustaches, didn't we?
Yeah, we said anybody who now buys us a coffee, we will photograph us drinking our coffee with a frothy moustache and post it as a thank you.
Yeah. God, I'm going to have to get a frother.
Just use shaving foam.
That's a good idea, yeah. Nobody will know. And we wanted to thank the most recent supporters. We've got an anonymous one, so thank you very much. We kind of do know who you are because we can see your PayPal, but we know you don't want us to read it out. So
if you say you're anonymous, we'll assume that you're not happy for us to say your name. So,
but thank you very much. And also, we want to give a big thank you to T. Jason Williams on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you. Really, 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 really can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Should I say more really?
No, I think that's enough. Anyway, What are we talking about today, Sandra, anyway?
Oh, yeah, today we are talking about fun things you can do with a creative friend. And I think, Tara, we're experts on this now, don't you?
Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah. And I think art, it can be quite a solitary thing, can't it? But it needn't always be that way, particularly now that we've got the internet. Do you know, Tara, I've often wondered.
What?
I don't know if
Is
you
this
agree
some
with me.
deep and dark secret? No.
No, but, because when you look back at people do say, art is a solitary thing, isn't it? It's lonely and, you're isolated. And
yeah.
And I've often wondered if Van Gogh would ever have cut his own ear off if he'd had the internet.
I think he'd have cut his own ear off if you were ringing him every day.
Thanks. But he was the epitome, wasn't he, of the tortured artist. And
Yes.
I reckon all he needed was an arty friend to have some fun with, and I reckon everything would have been a whole lot different for him.
To go out urban sketching with. Yeah, and to send him presents and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just someone to, chat to. And
Yeah,
say, look,
maybe.
I've been thinking about cutting my ear off.
Yeah.
I need to talk. So anyway, basically, more than ever before, I think we can now create with other people, connect with other creative people, and find fun things to do together. And I just think it's a shame he couldn't. But these days, you can do that without even have to meet that person because of the internet, you know.
Which is much nicer even, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, because then there's no escape, literally, is there? But if you're lucky enough to have a creative friend who lives nearby, one idea is to share your creative space together, or your studio if you're lucky enough to have one. The friend I was talking about earlier, who I'm doing the exhibition with, she has actually been painting in my studio for a couple of days a week just recently, because she hasn't got an ideal space at home to do the kind of painting she's doing, because she's painting quite large. She's got 2 young children as well. But I've got to say, it's been actually really nice just having a bit of company for a change. And I think a couple of days a week is about right, because I do find that, you know, I do need to focus at times.
You don't say that she's getting on your nerves on the podcast, do you?
No, she's definitely not getting on my nerves. And the thing is, because she tends to be in there when I'm actually working, doing my day job. So it's just nice to have her sort of in the background. But a couple of times we've actually painted, she's been painting and I've been painting. It's been really nice just having a little bit of, I don't know, it's just knowing someone's there. But sometimes I do need to be on my own and I do need to focus. There's no doubt about that. So a couple of days is about right. But yeah, it's been quite uplifting having someone around. So that's one thing you could do if you've got someone who kind of lives nearby. What about you? Do you prefer
I think I would hate that.
Because, oh, do you?
Yeah, I do not think I would be good. It'd be all right if I came around for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But then I think I'd need my space back to myself. Me and Kevin, when we had our old house, before we lived where we do now, our first house, we had a little box room. And we decided that we'd keep, because we've got 3 bedrooms, we had our room, spare room, and then we decided we'd make this both of our studies. So I had a computer in like one side of it, and Kevin had, I don't think he had a little computer or his games, or, you know, his TV, and he just used to drive me nuts because he used to be wanting to play his PlayStation games.
Oh, I couldn't
cope with that.
You could hear
it, and I'd be trying to, you know, I'd be mucking about on my computer, or he'd want music on and I wouldn't. Just like... We're going to get a divorce and we're not even married.
But what if he was like an artist though, and he was just wanting to do something similar that you do? And
I think, yeah, we'd probably get on all right like that, but I don't think I'd still want to be with anybody all the time.
Oh no, not all the time.
No. But yeah,
I couldn't do it all week, because I know that there are times when I just have to focus and I need that time on without having to worry about anything else.
Yeah.
But you prefer sketching outdoors with other people, don't you?
Well, yeah, I really like doing the quick sketches. I've started doing again for our like Instagram and stuff. I really like doing that. And again, you can't talk to anyone when you're doing those, because it's just no time to think, is there, sort of thing?
No, not really.
Yeah, and like I can just imagine if me and you had, we wouldn't get anything done, would we? Because he wouldn't stop talking. But we do love our sketching trips, definitely, and that I really like. I much prefer to do that with someone else, like, you know, go out with you or be with Kevin or something like that. And of course, when you're on sketching trips, you can also, something else for creative friends is buy them ridiculous presents, can't you? Yeah. So, like, I don't know if
which one are we talking about?
Oh, well, there's been 2, hasn't there, that you've got me, and you'll be pleased to hear I've got you a lovely present for this time.
Oh,
yes, something to look forward to.
How exciting!
Yes, so Sandra's bought me John Bergerman knickers, and also this time I had a hairy belly bag.
Yeah, I thought it'd be like, really good for your pencils, to keep your pencils in.
Yeah, it was just like, I did post that on our story as well. So if you want to see all these stupid things, they'll be on our story. And
You've forgotten one.
What?
Well, I bought you a lovely bag of Sherlock, my Labrador's
dog hair. Yeah, I did. I gave that one back.
I gave it to you because I thought that you could make something really creative out of it with goggly eyes.
I've got plenty of dog hair, to be honest, at the moment. God, it's falling out in clumps. I don't need any more.
Oh, Sherlock's actually slowed down a bit now because the
has
weather's
he?
obviously cooled down. So instead of being able to make a whole new dog every day out of what I sweep up, I can probably make a guinea pig. So it's not so bad. It's not
No,
so
it's
bad.
horrible.
Yeah, it's gross,
But yes,
isn't it?
you'll be looking forward to your present. But you can't wait.
I cannot wait. Woo. But if you don't have a creative friend in your immediate circle that you can actually physically see or do things with, you can probably find one nearby by asking on your local town's Facebook page. I think art is quite a niche thing, isn't it? And it's not something that everyone does or lots of people around us do even. So quite often we don't, have anyone else to really share it with. And, if you post on your local town's Facebook page that you're looking for someone who shares an interest in creating art or sketching or whatever it is you do, then you're likely to get a few responses, I think, from other artists who also don't know anyone else who does the same thing. And I think that's a really good way to make new connections. And you've done this, haven't you, Tara?
Yeah. I mentioned this last time, I think, that I've tried to set up groups. To be honest, it's not been that successful because I haven't had that many people. And I do wonder if instead of setting up a group, like I was trying to do, get a few people out, I should have just said, look, does anybody fancy coming out sketching? A bit more casual. Maybe I should have said, anyone fancy coming out sketching this weekend?
Yeah, well, I think that's more what I mean, really.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about setting up a group, but if you want to find somebody that maybe that does want to learn to sketch or come out and sketch with someone, or an experienced artist even that just wants company from time to time, it's a good idea to sort of say, look, I'm an artist, I live in this area, I'm looking for somebody who has similar interests.
It's like a dating agency, isn't it?
Single white female. No, who's interested in the odd sketching trip here and there, or a visit to a local galleries or something like that. That does sound a bit eHarmony.
Yeah. But anyway, what you were saying about these sketch meetups, I had a meetup as well, like the actual site meetup. Well, I decided to cancel that, but it's still ongoing at the moment. But I got an interesting email there the other day. I got an email from an assistant manager at a restaurant, or cafe kind of restaurant, that's about probably 15 miles away. And he was interested. He said, would you like to bring your group along to our restaurant? We'd love to. I guess he's trying to bring in new people. And if he's got someone sketching, it creates interest, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I said, well, to be honest, I haven't got many people, but try I've now become an admin of the other. There's a Northampton Urban Sketchers group, and I've become an admin of there. So I said, contact them, the person who runs that. And it looks like she seemed quite interested because I saw the message. So hopefully I might be able to go along to that one because that won't be too far away for me.
Yeah, oh, brilliant.
Which would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to go to, there's a Leicester Urban Sketchers. There's so many of these Urban Sketchers groups. If you want to go to something like that, have a look on Facebook because there's Urban Sketchers groups all around the world. And I was going to go to one in Leicester.
So you're talking about official ones?
Yeah, because the Northampton one is an official one. I think you have to have so many members and have been going for so long, and then you can become an official Urban Sketchers group.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, you might even have one near you.
I don't know.
No, I bet one of the nearest cities to you.
I wouldn't mind betting Brighton might have one.
Yeah, I bet even nearer.
Do you reckon?
Maybe. Yeah. But
well, I don't know what's really nearer. I mean, God, anything nearer is really small towns, really.
Oh, is it? But
Northampton's
not that big, to be honest. No, it's not a city; it's only a town.
Yeah.
So you might be lucky. But yeah, definitely have a look on Facebook and search for, the nearest big town or city near you. And as well, if you don't have a creative friend nearby, what about setting up a virtual sketching trip? Now we could even just sketch together. So literally you could sit with not Facebook Live. What's the one? What's it called? Just where you have a camera and both of you can sit in front and chat.
FaceTime?
Isn't that FaceTime is the Apple one? Whatever.
Yeah, but you wanted to be able to do it so it doesn't cost you anything though, don't you?
Yeah, but Facebook's got Facebook Messenger. You can do video as well, can't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, you could just sit and
WhatsApp.
sketch.
You can do virtual WhatsApping. Yeah, you can do FaceTime on WhatsApp. And as long as you're both in an internet area, then it should be free.
But you could do it just at home, even if you just wanted to sketch and chat. Or we keep meaning to try a virtual sketching trip, don't we? Where we go out, one of us goes, we both go out and then we try and somehow
Google Hangout or something.
Yeah, and we were looking into this, and there's different ways we could possibly do it, but we haven't tested them out, but we will let you know. But a few of the possible ideas are, like we just said, FaceTime or Facebook video chat, Google Hangouts, Zoom. There's another program called Zoom, and for 45 minutes or 40 minutes, you can get that free, and you can have multiple people on that. And also, we've set up Facebook has got this other app called Workplace. And obviously, like its name, it's meant to be for businesses and organisations. But basically what it is like a mini Facebook just for those certain people. So me and Sandra have got one just for us, haven't we? And it's just we just share files and stuff to do with Kicking the Creatives.
Yeah.
But you can also video chat through that. So you could set up a small group of, 3 or 4, however many people, and you might be able to do the video thing through that. Again, we haven't tested it yet, but we'll let you know.
It's no good if you're shy, though, because I remember the first time, did you accidentally FaceTime me? And I remember we'd never met, and I remember you just suddenly dived under your desk. I was like this. I just saw this person come up on my screen, and the next thing she was on the floor under her desk going, "Oh no, I haven't brushed my hair."
Yeah, ironically,
so
for someone who makes videos like you being really worried about the thing, there's me ducking, and yet we make videos all the time.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it, how things have changed?
Yeah.
But the great thing I think about like sketching out and about with a friend is that you can sketch each other. So, for example, Tara, you sketched me, didn't you, in the V&A Museum?
Yep, and you sketched me with a baggy chin.
Yeah, but you were moving.
You could have been kinder there, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'll bring a rubber next time.
Yeah.
Anyway, you sketched me while I was while I was sketching one of the statues. I remember that because I didn't know you were drawing me, but you just were, because presumably you knew I wasn't going to move.
Yeah, neither forever.
So if I was finding it difficult to find a statue that was still enough, I could easily say to you, don't move, just carry on what you're doing until I finish drawing you. So that can work really well, as long as your friend doesn't offend easily like Tara. Or if you live near each other, you could even pose for each other in your studio spaces. So maybe you want to practice your portrait skills. You could perhaps ask your friend over and say, can you sit for me? And then, I'll do the same for you. Maybe they want to practice their life drawing skills. You both have a model at the ready.
Well, I was actually thinking, we were talking about the virtual thing and FaceTime, all that. But you could do that permanently. You could do that as well, because you could sit there. The only problem is you'd both be looking down at certain points. But again, that would get you used to people moving, wouldn't it? You could draw each other.
Definitely.
Oh, we could try that and draw each other.
Oh, God, that'd be funny.
Wouldn't it?
But you literally...
make a video of that.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
But you don't even have to have a creative friend for that, in a way. If you wanted to say to someone, I need to practice portraits, even a family friend or like a family member can be your model, can't they? But the thing is, they might not be...
Even a member can be your model.
But they might not be quite as patient as someone who understands what you're actually trying to achieve, what you're trying to do. So creative friends are much more understanding, I think.
Yeah, I guess unless you get someone get them to read a book or something while you're drawing.
Yeah, that's good. It gives them an excuse to just sit and do nothing. Yeah. It's the problem with that is obviously when you're trying to learn, you almost want to say to that person, come round, have a coffee, have an hour to just sit doing nothing and read a book, but I can't show you afterwards.
Yeah, you do. That is the real downer about things like that, because especially if you know the person, you don't want to offend them, do you?
Of course not, no.
And you could either offend them by drawing them really well and they look like they do look, in which case they're offended, or you can draw them really badly and they don't like it. Either way, you can't win, can you?
No.
But you could also go to a creative event like a gallery or something together. We've never done this, have we, apart from the V&A?
No, I mean, there are so many galleries we could go to, actually, when we do our London trips. There's loads, but... we're so wanting to get lots of sketching in, I suppose, aren't we? I suppose going in a gallery...
defeats the object.
It kind of does, because what you're doing is you're then I think going in a local gallery, like some, the ones that are shops kind of thing, where you can go in and have a nose around, you can be in there for 10 minutes or so, brilliant. But I think if we went into a proper big gallery, then really instead of doing it ourselves, we're looking at other people who have done it themselves. And so, yeah, it's a
different trip, isn't it, really?
It is a different trip. But yeah, I mean, gosh, when we were in Brighton, if we'd have, actually we did go into a couple of galleries
the little
in
one,
Brighton.
didn't we? Yeah.
Just little ones, and that's fine, because it's 10, 15 minutes of having a look around and getting inspired and feeling even more creative because you've looked at other things. But yeah, I do think it's very easy. It's a bit like anything, isn't it? It's like if you can read all the books in the world about sketching and that you're just reading about it, though. It's better to actually do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, gallery, like you say, I think that is a different trip. But, you could do what my friend and I are doing and do a joint exhibition. So I've never done a solo exhibition. Like I said before, it would scare the bejeebies out of me, but somehow sort of doing it with someone else does take the pressure off, even though I'm still having nightmares. But at least you're both responsible for making it work. You've got someone else sharing the load, sharing the fear, sharing the expense too, because obviously, you need to provide a few nibbles and a glass of fizz for the people who are sportive enough to show up. And it's funny because I said to my brother-in-law, I've got this exhibition coming up, if you fancy coming along. And he texted me and said, will there be nibbles and alcohol? And I said, well, there will be. Don't quite know how much, but there will be. Certainly a glass of fizz. And I said, but we can always pop along to the pub afterwards. And he said, OK, what time does it finish? I said, 9 o'clock. He said, see you at 8:55.
Oh, so mean.
I know he's joking, though. But yeah, I'm hoping that, like I said before, once I've done it enough, I'll be a bit more relaxed about it. But yeah, that's something to consider if you've got a creative friend.
I mean, you don't even have to go for an exhibition, do you? I can imagine, two creative people, if you don't want to go to that level of, the big exhibition, you could have a stand somewhere, at these like craft fairs or something local. And you could just put, a few pictures up each, couldn't you? But both be there for kind of moral support.
That's a really good idea, yeah. Yeah.
Also, you can teach new stuff to each other, can't you, to a creative friend, which is great because you pick up little tips. And it doesn't have to be anything really deep. It could just be like, have you tried this? Or why don't you try this? It's just giving someone else some ideas, isn't it?
I think actually you can teach without even realise you're teaching, or learn without even realising you're learning. It's like when we've been on our trips, sketching trips together, how many times have we said to each other, oh, maybe if you didn't go quite so dark, or you've said to me, maybe try doing it with this pen, or try this pen, or try, I don't know, doing it this way. And you pick up things from your arty friends without realising it in a way, don't you? You grow.
Yeah, I think you would have scrapped that painting that got wet we were talking about last time, wouldn't you? The one you were drawing of a set, and you would have scrapped that.
Yeah.
And I told you to keep
in it.
Yeah.
That I didn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I kind of do. It's really funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. And it's like you didn't really see anything in my pot belly man, and I don't see anything in my pot belly man either because it's rubbish.
You do learn from each other. So
yeah, definitely.
Without
you like opposite ones to me as well that I draw, because when we went to London, you liked my buildings, which I didn't like at all. I liked the people. Yeah,
so it's a good way of sort of seeing what other people are seeing in your work that you don't necessarily see.
Something you might dump and just get rid of. You think, oh, okay, maybe there is worth me progressing this and trying it a little bit more.
Yeah, because I've never really been into doing buildings or backgrounds, like as in like messy backgrounds. Like I'll concentrate on a lamppost because I love the lamppost, and I'll just indicate a little bit, maybe a little wall at the bottom. But then you'll be like, oh, I don't just indicate a bit of background. So along came a bridge, and you loved that. Yeah, you loved that more than the foreground.
Both the bridge and the washy one with the car on, they're my favourites, I think.
Yeah, but the washy one with the car on, as we said last time, it was largely helped by the rain.
Doesn't matter though, does it?
Do you know what though? Do you know what it made me think?
What?
I'm going to use my spray bottle next time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Some water.
Yeah.
Just see what happens.
Especially if because you keep saying you want to do colour. Are you going to take your brush pens?
Yes, I am taking my brush pens, although I don't love those brush pens, I don't mind them, but I think I want to try watercolour.
Yeah. You
I mean,
always
it's
say
not like
that,
I
like
haven't.
I do.
Yeah, it's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I've never painted with watercolour before. I have, and I moved on to oils. But for sketching, oils is absolutely no good. You can't sketch with oils. Not the kind of sketching we're talking about that goes in a book. But I've got some really vibrant watercolours because. One thing about watercolour is it does dry quite a lot more pale, doesn't it, than when you put it on. So I've got those. I think they're Koh-i-Noor. Is it Koh-i-Noor?
Oh, I don't know.
They're like
yes, I do. The little round
yeah,
ones. Yeah.
They're really, really vibrant.
Yeah.
I love them.
They're supposed to be like inks, aren't they? More than watercolours, I believe.
They're kind of, a bit more like that. And I think so. I might bring those, I think, rather than watercolours because I think I want to get a bit more punchy. If I'm going to do it, I want to go wild.
The only problem with those Koh-i-Noor, and they're absolutely brilliant for like travelling, I think, if you've got like a table and stuff. But if we're sitting somewhere, they're a bit fiddly because you've got all these different trays, haven't you?
Yeah, that is the downfall with those. Yeah, there's always some sort of downfall, always some sort of compromise, isn't there?
There is.
But I do love the brush pens, but they're very acidic.
Yeah.
And I know that they do. When you water them down, obviously they pale up a bit, but they're still quite very unnatural looking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think though the set you've got, because you've got the Stationery Island ones, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it's quite a limited colour palette, and you can get more subtle colours. Yeah,
you can because you can mix, say, an orange with a blue to grey it down and stuff like that. So you can do that. But I think this time I just want to do it with watercolour and see what happens.
I might do the watercolour as well.
Yeah.
We can both come back with black and white.
You can encourage each other to try new things, as we've been saying, really.
just now.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember, for example, you used to always sketch one thing on a page and then not even use the back page. So I'd be like, wow, you're wasting so much of your sketchbook. And then I suggested, because I used to draw lots of different things in my sketchbook on the same page. I had quite a large sketchbook, but I'd do bits and pieces all over the page. And you said, I couldn't do that. And because what if I did something really rubbish on a page with something really good? And I said, well, my pages, I've got sort of... I don't know, lots of things on one page, and in amongst it there'll be a gem,
Yeah.
So you actually when you went to Devon, you tried that, didn't you? You started. You said to me, "Oh, I've actually done a page of various different things," and it was almost like a kind of journal of your day, because you resisted it at first, didn't you? You were saying, no, I'm not doing that, but you actually it was kind of like a visual diary of your day and little kind of snippets, and you really liked it in the end, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it had to be my idea, see, not yours.
But you got me to try that chunky marker pen to sketch with.
You hated it, yeah.
I absolutely hated it, and I still hate it, I have to say. But you also got me to get out my Japanese brush pen, which I never liked, and I'd used before. I just didn't like it, and I'm actually really glad that you did, because I actually really love it now, and it's a kind of must-have in my sketching kit. So sometimes it just takes a bit of encouragement from someone else, but you need to find that someone else, I suppose.
Yeah, and definitely if you want to look at the brush pen thing that your Sandra's talking about, go and have a look at our Art Kick Sundays, because I absolutely love, you drew a woman, didn't you, with the brush pen, and it's really, really lovely, because you're really good at really tight brush. I don't mean tight as in not flowing, but what I mean is you've got really good lines when you use your brush pen, which, unlike me, I use it quite scruffily, but you've got, I think it's because you're so used to being very precise, aren't you, with your oil painting? You've got a really steady hand.
Yeah, I think I love the brush pen, and I think about where I'm going thick and thin, and I suppose you could call it a thoughtful line, maybe. I don't know.
Definitely.
But I really, really enjoy the marks it makes now. But I think I'm going to use it more in my sketching a little bit more, perhaps.
In London?
Yes, I think
good.
so. Yeah, we'll see.
What you could also do is take a course at the same time, something you're both interested in. And me and Sandra tried this, and I feel very guilty about it because I saw this course online and I thought, oh, that looks really good. And we'd kept on saying that we were going to try doing something together. So, because the idea being then we could kind of cheer each other on and, you know, offer each other tips as we're going along, wasn't it? So you said, yeah, that looks good. So we both tried it and we started it.
And it costs money.
Yeah, it cost money. It wasn't mega expensive, was it?
Oh, about £25 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, thank goodness. And after a few lessons, I was hating it after about 2 lessons, and you hung in there a little bit longer, didn't you? But you kept on sending me these messages.
Well, only because you hadn't told me that you'd given up.
I was sending you this message saying, I'm not very keen on this, and you were sending me, yeah, I'm not sure about it either. But you're a much more positive person than me, so you were much more positive at first. And then we both said, no, we hate it. So we just weren't learning anything. So
no,
if you're gonna pick a course, be very careful what you pick. Well, obviously you can't always tell, like we couldn't, but we didn't feel too bad because we both didn't like it. But the awful thing would be if one did and one didn't. But yeah, definitely look at doing that. And maybe places like Skillshare are great for that, because, you know, you could just sign up for a month, both do something and see how you get on.
And if you've got someone who, like I say, lives nearby, you could actually do a creative course, you know, an actual one in a brick and mortar room, do you know what I mean? So you could do that and join a little art group or something. That's always a good idea. I never did that, but I did meet some people at a group like that years and years ago when I first sort of started drawing. And that was good. Most towns have like an art class or something. But yeah, that's another idea. But yeah, the online ones, it's hard, isn't it? Because you get snippets of what the course is about, but it's really hard to know whether it's going to be what you like until you actually do it. I don't know.
I think we're not going to say what the course was.
No.
Because some people absolutely loved it. So it was obviously just that it wasn't right for us. It wasn't that it was a bad course. It just didn't suit.
Absolutely not. No, it's just that it wasn't, like you say, it wasn't really for us.
But we've been watching that urban sketching. I found an urban sketching course that I really liked on, I think I mentioned it, My Blueprint. So you've been watching that as well, haven't you?
Yeah. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, so I wish we'd done that at the same time. It's a shame we didn't.
Yeah, but I think that would have been a really good idea. But you just don't know, like you say, until you watch it, do you? But
no.
You can also collaborate on one project. So it might be that both of you work on one piece of art, and that could be interesting. Do you remember that game, Hats? We used to play as kids.
Do you know, is this one where one person would do the head, one person do the body and all that stuff?
So what you do is you get this piece of paper, and then one of you would draw, say, a hat. It starts with a hat.
Yeah.
And then you fold the bit of paper downwards, and so that the hat can't be seen. And then the next person draws a face, and then they fold that down.
Yeah, so the head and the face. Gist.
Yeah. And then so on and so on and so on. So basically, in the end, and you can go around as many people as you like, but I remember me and my sister used to do it all the time. And then what happens is at the end, you open this person up, obviously when the last person's done the feat, and then you've got this bizarre being. I mean, I remember once it was part octopus, part head, part human and part horse, and there's all sorts of things you can do, but I suppose I'm not really talking about actually doing a game of hats, but it's kind of the same concept, isn't it?
We're not doing that in London, are we, when we go on?
No. But, obviously painting one bit of art together isn't always practical, but there are lots of other things you could do. So you could write a screenplay together, or you could make silly videos together like Tara and I do for our Art Kick Sunday videos on YouTube. You
can make a podcast.
Yes, like we do. You could write a story together. We wrote a children's book together, didn't we? Which we did for the February Fables Challenge. And hopefully we will actually eventually get around to publishing this thing when I've finally finished illustrating it, which I've just, for the record, I will tell you now, I don't like illustrating.
No, okay.
Which is why we haven't had the book out yet. But the way we did it, so one of us would write 250 words and stop, and then the other one would write the next 250 words until we had our first draft. And I think it kept things really interesting, because just when you thought you knew where the story was going, it'd take a whole new direction. So there's so many different things you could try and do together and collaborate. It's one way of doing, and you could, like I say, you can do that with someone you either know in the flesh or you've met online.
Do you remember that painting show? It was the one that Callum was on. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, BBC's paint. Oh, what was it called? The Big
Painter of the
Painting
Year
Challenge.
Or something, yeah.
No.
Oh, okay, Big Painting
The Big
Challenge.
Painting Challenge, yeah.
And they had to, I think it was on that one, where they had to, two of them get together for one of them and paint something between them. Was that one? Do you remember? It was only like an exercise. Well, I can always imagine me and you doing that. It would be an absolute nightmare. Because I'd have covered the whole canvas and you'd have this little line going on the other side, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, sketching's different now, isn't it? Because I do sketch really quickly
now.
now.
You do actually, yeah.
My paintings, I'm much more obviously detailed, aren't I? And you're sort of like, just get it down. But no, sketching's different. But yeah, if you want to work on the same bit together, it could be a really interesting way of seeing what your painting could be.
but I have seen online, and I wish I'd got the website, but there is a place where you can, it's like an organisation, and they do collaborative sort of art projects. So you have a load of artists, and I don't know how many groups they're in, like how many things, but they all paint a joint picture. So someone might start it off and then someone carries it on, a bit like you were saying with the story. I'll try and find the web address to put on the show notes if I can. But I remember seeing it before and thinking, oh, that's quite a clever idea. It'd be really weird, because obviously they're not painting anything in front of them. It's all kind of more imaginative type stuff, but very interesting, because you can just imagine if someone who's got a completely kind of semi-abstract style, and then you've got a real realism painter, it'd be quite bizarre, wouldn't it?
It really would, yeah, it really would.
But we've also got people in our group, haven't we, that they'll maybe collaborate. So someone's perhaps written a poem, and then someone else does a sketch that goes with the poem. It may never have been intentional, but it kind of works out like that, and then they do that vice versa. We've also got in our group a guy called John F.R. Monroe, and he's actually just about to publish a book of poetry and short stories called A Century, and he's written quite a few of the short stories and the poems, but he's also got contributions from members of the Kicking the Creators group and also his Gorbals writing group, and he's going to launch that on the 5th of November. And what he's really hoping is that money raised by the book can be used to help fund other writers and illustrators. So that's a really lovely project that's again come about through these online connections he's made.
And can you spell a century? Because it's not like a century.
No, he's made up this word. It's ESSENTARY, and I'm guessing he'll be selling on Amazon and all the usual places. And again, it's from 5th of November, and he said because he couldn't afford fireworks that he'd do it on that day.
What a fan! I didn't realise he did that. It's so funny. On our group as well, we've got an art swap, haven't we? That's another idea. So you could do an art swap or postcard swap. So we've got a lot of people in our group who do this. So at the beginning of each month, anyone who wants to join puts their name forward on the post, and then we pair them up, don't we?
Well, it's actually, we usually put it through near the mid to end of the previous month.
Yeah.
And then we pair them up at the very beginning of the month.
Yeah, and then they make a postcard piece size bit of art, and then they post them to each other. And, if anything, it's just so rare these days, isn't it, to get something handwritten or handmade in the post. So getting a little piece of art, such a lovely thing. So that's something else you can do.
Yeah, I mean, that was a project that was originally suggested by Kim Hine and Deb Sane, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
And then
really good.
We took it on, and people seem to absolutely love it. So if anybody does want to join in with that postcard swap, that's all within the Kicking the Creatives Facebook group, which anyone can join. You're very welcome if you want to come and join that.
Yeah.
And it was funny, actually, because I usually do the pairing up of that, don't I? Well, I always do the pairing up of that.
Yeah.
And I paired people up last time, and I managed to pair up a guy with the name of Pigeon or Pigeon, I never know how you pronounce it, I'll have to ask him, and Duck. So I managed to pair up a pigeon and a duck. And I also managed to pair up two people that had got paired up the time before.
So did you do that purposely, the pigeon and the duck?
No. There's a thing online where I can just put in all the names and say I want them paired into twos, and it would just pair them up, because obviously I don't want to pick people.
No.
I wanted to do it in a random manner. So yeah, it paired up a pigeon and a duck. Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I mean, before we did Kicking the Creatives, we used to do little challenges as well, didn't we? And we've mentioned this a few times, I think, before, but we did a Does Alcohol Make You More Creative challenge. Here's one to try with your friends. And that was just testing out the effect of alcohol on your creativity. So you try maybe drawing something before you've had a drink, and then maybe after you've had a couple of glasses of wine. We're not talking getting drunk.
Maybe we should have a little disclaimer here.
Yeah.
Please drink responsibly.
Yeah. But it was just a few units, but it was just trying to see what the difference were. And we do poems and all sorts, and that's actually what got me into drawing again, which is quite weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but we also used to do other things like that, which I can't even think what we did. I know we used to set each other little challenges.
We did poems and things like that, didn't we?
Yeah,
Adverts
we did.
And
yeah.
I can't remember, but it's so long ago now. It feels like forever ago, actually, doesn't it? Yeah, that was a good fun time.
Another thing you could do is actually take part in a creative challenge at the same time as a friend.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen Marsha Furman, who's on Instagram, and Rainy Day Reads on Instagram. They both worked on the same challenge at the same time. They tag each other in and say, oh, do you fancy working on this? I think they were working on one of our challenges at the time. And so then they post it, but then they kind of co-promote each other's. They go, go and you've seen mine, now go and check out Rainy Day Reads, that way round, which is a nice idea, isn't it?
Oh, I think that's a really good idea. And more recently, we did something completely different, didn't we? And we exchanged a mystery box of art supplies to each other. So this was kind of inspired by those art subscription boxes. And we'd seen a few videos where people were opening them on YouTube, but they forgot to unsubscribe. So they were getting like boxes and boxes of stuff. But we set a budget, didn't we, of £5. And the idea was that we would have to create a piece of art using only the materials inside the box when we receive them. And that was really good fun, even though Tara, she included children's wax crayons in my box, which I was not impressed with. But you also sent me some gouache.
Which you also hated.
Yeah, and I still don't know how to pronounce gouache, whatever. And I'd been meaning to try that for a while, and it forced me so far out of my comfort zone, which isn't a bad thing. And we did a video, didn't we? Made a video of what I made using all the materials in this art box that Tara had sent me, and I sent you some, because you'd said to me a few times, I really kind of want to try painting again. So I thought, well, knowing Tara, just ordinary paint she'll get bored of, so let's try and find something a bit different that is still paint. So I found her this stuff, and it's what was it called, Tara? Can you remember?
Pebbio mixed media something, or Discovery Set or something like that. Yeah,
and in it had a sort of paints that do this weird thing, like make honeycomb textures and things like that.
Yeah, there's all different. So some are like kind of glossy, glassy sort of effects. Some are honeycomb texture. I think some are kind of a metallic-y sort of thing. Depends which ones you get. But this set has got like one or two of each of the types, just so you can try them out.
And you made a video out of that one, didn't you? And apparently it absolutely stunk.
Yeah, the stuff smelt like nail varnish, and I think it took a day to dry, but my room stunk for about 2 days. And of course, until it was dry, I couldn't move the thing either.
But you did something really quirky with yours, and that's another thing we've put on the videos, haven't we? So if you do want to check out what we did with our art boxes, have a look at the videos. But yeah, that's another thing you can do, between you. I think it's a really good idea to do that. And it's it kind of forces you out the comfort zone again, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think either of us would have chose those materials, would we?
And quite frankly, I will not be using wax crayons again.
I probably won't be using gouache either. Do you know, I only bought you those gouache because that horrible course that we were doing, well, the one that we didn't like,
that
was on the list, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on the list of things
to do next.
Should have.
And at that point, we didn't know we were totally hating it. So I thought, that'll be. I'll get her those because at least you can use them afterwards.
I'm trying to think what I did like in your box. I'll tell you what I loved about your box.
What, the Werther?
No. Well, yeah, the Werther inside, the toffee. Yeah. I also really like the box.
Oh, yeah.
The box was amazing. You'd done all this fancy box, didn't you? And I was just like, I sent yours in a jiffy bag.
Yeah, I loved your jiffy bag. It was beautiful.
Well, at least you get to pop the bubbles.
Yeah.
I didn't get any bubbles. Anyway, you can also just bounce off each other.
Oh, God. Not literally.
Well, no, we haven't tried that one. But no.
Dear.
It's so good to have someone who just understands what you do, someone to chat to or get an opinion from when things just aren't going well, in the sketchbook or on the canvas or in your studio or whatever. Sometimes that person can even see things that you're completely blind to because, you've been staring at something for too long. Or sometimes they can motivate you when you feel like your mojo's just slipping away, which you will do from time to time. And, do you know, it takes me back to a time, I've spoken about this before, but in a very early podcast, so I will be brief. But a few years ago, you know about this, Tara, myself and another artist from New York, her name was Suzanne Berry. She's an amazing artist. And we were in contact. We've been chatting on and off, I think, for a couple of years. But then one day, we just sort of both completely lost our mojo. Something about her email and my email, we both kind of knew, oh God, we're in a dark place here, things aren't right. So we decided we'd try and do something about it. And the way we did it is that we created this blog where we were kind of both joint admins. And then what we would do is at the beginning of each month, one of us would list out 5 words and then the other one would then get to choose one of those words. And then both of us would have 1 month to produce a painting based on that one word. And then we'd have to post it up on the blog by the end of the month. And then the other person would choose the word the next time. See what I mean? So we kept that going for about a year. Totally did the job. We were so productive. I mean, we were just doing little 8x8 paintings at the time, but it was really good fun. And we stopped doing it after a year because we weren't in that place anymore. We were sort of flowing again. But that was a really fun thing to do with a friend. Something else you can't do with someone who doesn't paint. So, but I do think as a creative person it is really important to have at least one creative friend, whether online or in your direct circle of friends. It can make all the difference, I think, to the directions you take and the things you do.
Well, what sort of paintings did she do? Was it similar type to yours or not?
I guess so. I mean, we're very different, but she was amazing, her art. She didn't have like a theme, because I tend to sort of paint a lot of glass, don't I, and marbles and things like that. And she kind of painted anything and everything, but you'd have to look her up, okay. Suzanne Berry. I think she still has a blog. But I'll tell you something else. The people around you who don't paint or draw, they will always think that what you do is awesome. They'll always think you're really clever. So sometimes it's actually not a bad thing to have another artist around who'll spot your weaknesses where you can't, and vice versa, because being told you're great all the time might feel really nice, but it doesn't actually help you move forward. Whereas being encouraged to try something new or improve on an area that you're not quite as confident at, that's so valuable.
I don't know though. I mean, Kevin won't say, that's amazing. He will say, no. he will look at it and he go, it's all right, it's not your best. I suppose I don't mean like you're right, because my immediate family wouldn't. I mean, my mum would, but that's what mums do. but Paul, he will say if he sees something, that's not your best. I remember I did a boiled egg with a piece of toast dipping into the egg. And I really like that painting. I've always really liked it. I like that one as well.
Yeah. But Paul says, not keen on the toast.
No.
But do you know what? I even made the bread myself. I made the bread.
Did you?
Cut it. Yeah. It's a bread machine.
Perhaps because he tasted the bread, because you're not known for your cooking.
It's a bread machine.
Oh,
you
right.
can't go. But I think it was because what I did is I cut the most perfect slice of toast, and maybe he just thought it was too perfect.
Well, maybe.
Maybe it wasn't burnt enough. Maybe he just realised that it wasn't really, didn't relate to me because my toast is usually burnt. So
I really like that. Did you sell that one?
Do you know, that's still up for sale, and I'll tell you what, it's one of my favourites and I really like it. It's only little, but I've always really liked that painting. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, he just sort of said, no, not my favourite.
That will sell at this exhibition, won't it? You're going to take it to that?
Yeah, I will. Yeah. And I did another painting, which was 2 Coke bottles years ago. Well, that wasn't years ago, actually. It's probably about 3 years ago. And I loved that one as well. That was a big painting.
So the sky behind it.
Yeah. And everyone really liked that painting. And then my dad went, no, that's not my favourite. It's not the best you've done. And I thought, so it just shows, doesn't it, that everyone likes really different things.
Yeah, it's just opinion, isn't it? Most of it. Yeah. I mean, I guess there is certain things that you could look at something and say, yeah, that's not right. You know, if it's really weird or something. Yeah. But other things are just like, yeah, I like that or I don't like that. And there's no real rhyme or reason, is there?
No. But basically, you're getting back to the whole, just having a creative friend to chat to. Oh, we do that quite often, don't we? Sometimes, you've felt like you've lost your mojo, or I felt I've lost mine, and we've had a good old chat when we've been walking the dog, and you sort of feel motivated again. So it's really nice. Whereas somebody who doesn't do what you do, they don't really understand what it feels like to be going through a dry spell. Do you know what I mean?
No, they don't get it. And it's like you think you'd just be able to draw and that's it. It's not like you go through these kind of ups and downs, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
We also had some suggestions, didn't we, in our Facebook group for fun things that you can do with a creative friend. So we're going to read out a few of those. I think you've got the first one.
Yeah, I've got John Munro, setting up creative collaborations, writers and illustrators / artists. I've been doing these and I've had so much fun, but it needs to be done with some understanding and kindness from both parties.
Oh, yeah, it can be really tricky, can't it? Because if you're trying to do something that's a collaboration, you want it to be good, but then you don't want to knock someone down, do you?
No. And I thought it's funny because I seem to have got 2 under my list for some reason. I'm reading 2 out. Never mind. Actually, I've got 3.
No, I haven't.
Colin Pigeon, you're doing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't got Tara written there. I've got Sandra, and Sandra.
All right, I have. So anyway, I've got Colin Pigeon or Pigeon. Let me know, Colin, please. I have a literary. I read passages from favourite books while my wife, friends, and our kids paint, knit, or crocheted.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Imagine that, having a whole family involved in a creative day. Lovely. Nick Tay West, doodling together on a piece. I suppose that could be taking us back to hats again.
Yeah, and then I've got Nia Edmonds. She says, myself and my best friend get all pastels out and some paper, and we both doodle on the paper to create shapes that are bold, to practice shape and form.
Mumsy Savo, visiting local open studios in my local area. You get to see the work and meet the artist who produced it.
Do you know, I haven't done that. There are some local ones sometime. I'll have to go and have a look round. Right, I've got Deb Armstrong. She says, our photo club goes to outings to local places. I've learned more in these small group settings than anywhere else. And do you know what? The woman I met recently when I went urban sketching, there was just me and her, and she's from the Northampton Urban Sketchers group. Yeah. And she was saying that she's been along to some of the the Northampton Urban Sketchers, and sometimes she hasn't even painted. She's just watched and taken it in, what other people are doing, to try and pick up tips. And she says she's learnt so much purely by watching and talking to them.
I actually agree with that. There would be a part of me who would be torn on that kind of trip just to watch everyone else or just do it myself, because you can get so much out of watching someone, can't you?
Yeah, especially if they're quite a bit above you, especially.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love those programmes. It's actually started, I think it was this week, Landscape Artist of the Year's back on.
Yeah, I'm not so keen on the landscape one.
No, well, I'm not. I still watch it, but because I'm not a landscape painter, it's not as appealing to me as the portrait one, even though really I don't do portraits, to be honest. But there's something about the portrait one I love more. But that landscape one, it starts this week, and I've recorded it. And I always find that I have one favourite, and obviously you only see snippets of how they're going about it. And I think, I wish I could see the whole thing. Imagine, how much you learn from just watching someone do an entire painting. But
Yeah, I think someone local to me, I saw her in our, village Facebook group the other day that I don't know if she's going to be on the telly, but she's obviously been in the competition.
Oh, that's so interesting. You should say that, because there's a guy that I've been in contact with. His name's James, and he, I think he did the same course as I did years and years and years ago, if I remember it, because I'm sure that's how we connected. I'm sure he's not listening, but if he happened to be, I'd love him to correct me if I'm wrong. But I spoke to him, or I didn't speak to him. I commented on something the other day because he put on Instagram that he is going to be in episode 6, I believe he said, of Landscape Artist of the Year. So I can't wait. Yeah, I was so chuffed for him. I thought, how brilliant.
Oh, is this the guy you've told me about before who paints these things and he does them really quickly? And there's one that you told me who paints fairly quickly. He sells them for a really reasonable price.
Oh, no, that's Steve Sanderson.
Right.
No, his name is James. I think it's James Murcher, but no, I'm going to look out for him because he's really good, very good at what he does. I have got Jewel Mulder. She says, is it she says? It's Juul.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I'm more of a loner. Being creative together would be a big challenge, I guess. I think some people are like that, aren't they?
Yeah, it sounds like me and Kevin in a study, doesn't it? Right, and we're going to read out the answers to our previous question. And the question was, what subjects do you tend to avoid sketching and why? Now, I'm sure we've had this before and we've forgotten. It rings a bell, but never mind.
I don't know. I have obviously an Instagram name, Division U. People, because there's rules to making them look right.
Now, I think there's rules to make everything look right, but you can break any that you want.
Yeah.
I've got Colin Pigeon again. I'm going to have to give him to you next time.
I think we should just say pigeon because it's more fun.
Okay. Anything difficult?
It takes back to Mrs. Bouquet or Mrs. Bucket.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Okay, and he says, anything difficult? Hands, faces, animals. I'm all for easy lines and block colours. Now, not everybody would say that, you see, because I would say the opposite.
Yeah. And another one, Marcia Furman, people. Avoid it like the plague. It seems that people were quite a popular answer here,
yeah.
I think.
And I'm surprised by Marcia because she does some lovely stuff. And I know she does, I've seen her do birds and butterflies, and she does some quite organic stuff. So I'm surprised she doesn't like doing people.
Yeah.
Then we've got Angie Safford, and she says, the human body and animals, except birds, because I'm really bad at it.
Angela Murphy says, landscapes. Give me a face any day. Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Yeah, I'll go along with that too. And then we've got Gabriella Pop, and she says, flowers, trees, landscapes. Started some urban sketches. I think I have to exercise. I don't think she means jumpy jacks. I think she means do some more. But flowers are not my thing.
I've got Mumsy Savo, landscapes and seascapes, and flowers for me never look like I mean them to.
And I've got Nell Cummins. She says no landscapes for me. So landscape seems quite popular as well. Cityscapes, people, flowers, patterns, children, characters, random things like cars, buildings, toys, etc. All good. But landscapes, nope.
Isn't it funny? Now, I quite like the idea of drawing cityscapes, which I've only just realised in the last month or so. I'm taking a bit of an interest in maybe drawing buildings, whereas I never wanted to before. It's the landscapes where you're on a farm gazing over a gate and there's cows and sheep. I just find that beautiful to look at and from the eyes, but I do not want to paint it. It just doesn't inspire me to paint it or draw it at all. Isn't that funny?
No, and beautiful to look at when someone else has done it as well, painted it.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, I love looking at other people's. I just don't find it inspiring for me. No.
Me neither. It's like someone said, actually, I wish I could remember about trees always looking like cotton wool or something. You know, you draw loads of them like on a landscape.
Okay, Bradley Bergin, people again. They seldom resemble people, but that comes with practice at the end of the day, doesn't it? So keep at it.
I've got Shemaine Boggs. Children, mine tend to look older than they really are. So this month I'm challenging myself to do more drawings for my grandsons. And I know what she means. I've done that before. I've drawn a child and they perhaps look like they're about 3 and they end up looking about 7 or 8.
The secret's in the size of the head, I think, isn't it?
And the size of the eyes in relation, I think.
Yeah, because the children, the younger they are, the bigger their head is in proportion to their bodies. And I think it's when people draw a 3-year-old and they're using the proportions that you would for an adult. That's why that often happens, I think.
Yeah.
But I've got Teresa Joliffe Cameron. She says, animals, I struggle with not having stick men or outline style animals.
Perhaps you should make one.
Yeah.
I've got art done by Jackie P. Animals. I can draw just about anything, I think. But my animals all seem to look like squished plasticine bubbles. I need lots of practice. The problem is there are so many of them, all different. I wish there was a common formula to follow. Depict them quickly and accurately.
And I've got Kim Hine, landscapes for me too, which sucks because I'm always camping in some great places. And this week I'm going to be in Bali, among lush tropical forests and rice paddies, sorry. So many things I'm missing out on. Firstly, Kim, Bali is definitely on my bucket list of places to go. I really want to go there. And Paul and I have been talking about that recently, actually. And secondly, I know what you mean. Paul absolutely loves fly fishing and he fishes in some stunning, amazing landscapes. So it's a real shame I don't enjoy painting landscapes because it would be ideal, wouldn't it? He could fish and I could paint him fishing.
Yeah, Kevin and I were talking about bucket lists actually the other day. He said, because I'm going to be 50 soon. And he said, I ought to have one. So then I was racking my brains.
So basically, just because he's 50, he thinks, right, I better start doing stuff.
No, he said to me, I'm going to be 50.
Well,
so
you're not. You're 48.
No, I'm 49.
Oh, I'm 48. So how's that? We're the same age.
You're a year younger than me.
Oh, I'm going to rub that in now.
A year and a half. Yeah. So he said, you ought to have a bucket list of things you want to do.
Yeah. You know what's going to happen on your 50th birthday?
It's going to kill me.
No.
So I don't have to.
What happens apparently on your 50th birthday is that you get 2 leaflets through your door. One is from a funeral director's and one is for Stana chairlifts.
Oh, no. Stana chairlift could be quite fun though, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So you've got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Yeah, that's not on my bucket list, funnily enough.
What? Where are we? Oh, you've got dual Mulder, haven't you?
I have. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Eyes in a face. So maybe not eyes on their own. I don't know. Not only in a sketch, but also in sculpting. Now I don't know if she means sculpting, and she's bad at typing like me, or sculpting is like that sculpy clay. So I'm not sure about that one.
Oh, no, I don't know then.
No.
It could actually, either could work.
Yeah.
No. I've got Mary Flynn. People. I just can't seem to get the proportions correct. And buildings because I suck at perspective. But the thing is, Mary, as long as you observe the angles that you see in front of you, then your perspective should be right. So don't be put off by that scary word, which is perspective.
Yeah, I mean, tell you what, I was watching some videos on perspective while I was on holiday. It's just like you do, And I tell you what, all of them explain it, and you still think, okay, but what if, it's like, okay, I get it from what you're saying, but then what if there's a hill and the road goes down? That slightly messes up the theory, doesn't it? So I think, like you, yes, you can know, okay, there's this vanishing point or multiple vanishing points or whatever, but when you look real world and things are up and downhill and, it all kind of knocks things out a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the secret is just literally looking and observing what's in front of you because, I agree. I do think people are often quite worried about perspective, but as long as they actually look, that's all that's really needed. But it does help to have a basic understanding of it, obviously.
Yeah, of course. But also, I think if it's a bit quirky and it's a little bit off, as long as it's not, meant to be this highly technical, detailed drawing, does it matter?
No. If you're an architect, then but no.
Right, is it me? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stacey Wilder, and she says, buildings, anything with structure and straight lines.
And we have a brand new question for you, which is, what is the craziest creative thing you've ever done or would like to do with a creative friend? So, Tara, what is the craziest creative thing you have ever done or would like to do with a creative friend?
Well, I prepared this one because I knew you would ask me. So I'd like to wear stupid costumes and make silly videos. Done that already, haven't I?
Yeah, quite a lot of times. So what?
No, that was it.
Oh, I see. So what about what you would like to do that you haven't then? There's a question for you.
Nothing really.
Yeah.
Very boring. What about you? So I assume you prepared something since you're asking me.
The craziest thing I've ever done is probably making a video on the toilet and in the bath.
Yeah, see, it's exactly the same as me.
For our Silly Art Kick Sunday videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the craziest thing I'd like to do? Oh, do you know what? I'm going to put some thought into this and maybe I'll answer that next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I've forgotten.
Yeah. When we're reading out everyone else's answers.
Yeah, okay. I'll try and think of something as well. As always, you can tweet us your answers at Kick Creatives or let us know in the Facebook group, which if you haven't joined, I suggest you do. We will put the question up there and also on the Facebook page. And of course on Instagram, which is Kick in the Creatives.
And don't forget to pop over to our website at kickinthecreatives.com to find out how you can take part in some of our upcoming creative challenges. And of course, there you can also subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you are enjoying the podcast, we would be so grateful if you'd just leave us a little review on iTunes or even just a star rating if you don't have much time.
Okay, so our latest review is from Miriam Schulman. And the title is Charming and Inspirational. I think I'm the charming one. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll be the inspirational one. Which one do you want to be?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm charming and inspirational and you're just kind of...
I'm just...
I don't know. You're just...
Anyway, she says, I could listen to these ladies with their English accent talk about art all day. They're hilarious. Thanks for putting out a quality podcast from the other... Oh, God, I've got to read that bit again.
She was talking about our great English and you can't even speak.
I know. I could listen to these ladies with their English accents talk about art all day. They're hilarious. Thanks for putting out a quality podcast from the other side of the pond, and that's from @Schulman Art of the Inspiration Place podcast.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes,
we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Also, don't forget to check out and subscribe to our weekly YouTube videos. They're called Art Kick Sundays. Videos are light-hearted and fun, but also genuinely informative too. So if you want a chuckle, check out the ones we've aired so far.
And also, if you do enjoy what we do and you would like to help us here at Kick in the Creatives, you can now support us by buying us a cup of coffee. And you can find the link to that on our website. And anyone who buys us a coffee, we will post a photograph of ourselves with a foam frothy moustache just for you as a thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. And obviously, everybody would want one of those. And we will be doing a future podcast called Ask Us Anything. If you're in our Facebook group, you'll see there's a question in the announcements. And basically, you can ask us anything, sensible, silly, whatever you like. Just keep it relatively clean. And then what we're going to do is just open it so it'll be very ad-lib because we won't have seen them much beforehand. So, yeah, that will be coming up soon. I'm not sure when we're going to wear that. Maybe Christmas would be a good time for that one. Who knows?
Yeah, I love that you use the words relatively. All right, then we'll chat again soon.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, perhaps you'd like to share it and leave a review for us on iTunes. Back soon.
Right, is it me? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stacey Wilder, and she says, buildings, anything with structure and straight lines.
Excuse me. I just sneezed.
Oh, God, you've got such a lovely little sneeze compared to mine.
I was trying so hard to not do it that it sort of came out in a little...
It's like a squeak. You're like a little animal.
Can you say that again?
It's a squeak like a little animal.
No. I mean...
I know what you mean now.
So, yeah, we'll start that bit again.
Dear.
Sorry. Oh, is it me? No, is it me?
Oh, I don't know. No, it's me. It's me. We're not doing very well here, are we?